My first poem tried to break down the inconsistencies in the boycott of me, but now I want to pivot slightly to the north to break down the hypocrisy of the world's biggest bully, the president of Turkey. Now don't get me wrong, Turkey has a proud history, but ever since the modern secular state's inception, there's been more than a few massacres and aggression, oppression and occupation, but now there's this new self-destructive direction under President Recep Erdogan's foreign policy and domestic Islamist regression. The most obvious issue is his clear Kurdophobia, which turns life for Kurds in Anatolia into a racist dystopia. But for him, Kurdish anguish in Turkey just isn't enough. He needs to go across the border to Syria to snuff out his brothers over some frankly very dramatized stuff. This guy is so desperate to wipe out the Western allied Kurds, he'd rather help ISIS grow by being their oil chauffeur, just in the hopes that they would wipe out Kurdish Syria. In his deliria, he actually created that bacteria. But just like Pakistan nurturing the Taliban in Afghanistan, Erdogan fed his own extremist beast, and then that extremist beast started destroying the Middle East, and in the end, he still got fleeced, because ISIS turned around and set its sights on Istanbul, targeting nightclubs and teaching their toxic ideology in school, and if any of the NATO allies even tries to mention it, man-baby Erdogan will throw one of his classic shit fits. If you have any doubt about these crazy flip-outs, listen to this. After accusing the United States of funding the Islamic State, a group in reality he actually helped create, he accused Germany of being Nazis in 2017, just because Merkel said one thing about the implausibility of his EU membership pipe dream. It's not like she mentioned the tens of thousands of Turkish innocents that are in jail because of his Hitlerian schemes. And his ironic World War II references don't end there. With obsession, he harps on every little transgression in Israel's occupation. Erdogan, the kettle, accuses Israel, the pot, of a lot of exaggerated claims, saying, quote, once, "I can't say if Israel or Hitler is more barbarous." Well, Israelis know he's crazy and sensitive, so it doesn't bother us, but these blatant distortions are especially funny because Erdogan can't even acknowledge facts about his own country's history. Even though the rest of the world and even his own people seem to agree, that man-baby can't even issue an apology or even let other countries acknowledge the atrocity. Every Erdogan accusation is a thinly veiled projection of his own criminality, and still the West has to act with formality. Because Turkey's in NATO, and NATO's our friends, right? No, not right. Not this time. This time it's just pretend. Just look at the trend. He pretty much advocates for Sharia law, and his relationship with Iran and Russia is starting to thaw, but there's no mechanism to kick anyone out of NATO, so he's extorting them all. He loves to call out Western flaws, and he revels in the West crisis. Oh, and I forgot to mention, along with the Armenians and the Kurds, Turkey is still also occupying Cyprus. We all just kind of let that one go. The greatest tragedy, though, is what he does to his own society, where Erdogan and his Islamist AKP took what was once an example of Muslim secularity and brought it back towards the 7th century. He once said, quote, "You cannot bring men and women into equal position." That's a dark transition from the days of Ataturk, but the world's biggest jerk goes further to debase, saying, quote, "Journalists should know their place." He once told a crying 6-year-old girl that she should be honored to be martyred. This menace, this horrendous, senseless menace is relentless. He became president of the Muslim state with the highest level of liberty, and has since made it his life's mission to destroy that proud secular history. From my point of view, it's highly possible that he even orchestrated his own coup. Think about it. The people would have no one to turn to, and then he could purge the military of its secular influence, hurling the country towards its new Islamist deliverance. Look, Turkey is a valuable nation, in a strong position since its Cold War station, but every opportunity Erdogan chips away at the country's original definition. With him at the lead, Turkey will never succeed. It won't act rationally, either internationally or domestically. Israelis and Turks should be friends. Every Turk I know is cool, except for that one. Except for Recep Erdogan. That Turk is just a jerk.